Welcome back, my friends. We have all heard for decades now that robots are going to kill jobs in the economy. But, is it really true? Or, are robots just taking away the mundane jobs that nobody wants to do? Or, maybe it is just impossible for a machine to have all of the things that humans workers have. Well, robots have been around in some form for a long time. And every new technological development seems to bring headlines. Today, we are hearing news that restaurants are investing more in robots. Restaurant chains are experimenting with automation. They need to because the labor crunch is pressuring profits. But robots and other labor-saving technology are still expensive, and it's not clear how and when automation will pay off for restaurant operators. For now, major chains are still testing the technologies. Even Elon Musk bought a robot company. And he is trying to develop robots to build Tesla cars. But realistically, how soon can that happen? And Amazon has been developing robots to work in their warehouses. What does it mean for the US economy? And what does it mean for the future of the United States? But, before we get into all of that, please hit the like button and leave us a comment below. We would love to hear from you. Please subscribe and hit the bell icon so that you are notified of upcoming videos when they are released. Fast food restaurants are experiencing economic pressure like never before. Struggling to find workers. Eager to relieve staff from boring, repetitive tasks. Having to pay a lot for the workers that they do have. Fast food restaurant chains are adding robots to their kitchens. Using artificial intelligence, computer vision technology, and a mechanical arm. Miso Robotics Flippy 2 has been deployed to Chipotle, White Castle, and Wingzone. White Castle said it plans to add 100 Flippy robots. Robots will work the fry station at its restaurants across the country. The tide has turned. This is no longer a question of a robotics coming to the industry, said Jake Brewer, Chief Strategy Officer at Miso Robotics. It's a foregone conclusion. The question is at what pace and in what form, Brewer added. Up to 82% of restaurant positions could be replaced by robots. Automation could save U.S. fast food restaurants more than $12 billion in annual wages, Brewer said. Other food robot companies are trying to dominate the space. Picnic, whose pizza station can make up to 130 oven-ready pizzas per hour. And Autek, with a line of sushi robots. So what impact will robots have on the fast food industry and the livelihood of its workers? Chipotle Mexican Grill is testing a tortilla-making robot in some of its stores. Sweetgreen plans to automate salad making in at least 2 locations. And Starbucks wants its coffee-making equipment to lessen the workload for baristas. This year brought a flurry of automation announcements in the restaurant industry as operators scrambled to find solutions to a shrinking workforce and climbing wages. But the efforts have been spotty so far. 3/4 of restaurant operators are facing staffing shortages. Many restaurant operators hiked wages to attract workers. But that pressured profits at a time when food costs were also climbing. Automation startups pitch themselves as a solution. They say that robots can flip burgers and assemble pizzas more consistently than overworked employees. And that artificial intelligence can enable computers to take drive-through orders more accurately. Many of the industry's buzzy automation announcements this year came from Miso Robotics, which has raised $108 million as of November. A robot that can be programmed to flip burgers or make chicken wings. Burger chain White Castle has installed Flippy at 4 of its restaurants. Chipotle Mexican Grill is testing the equipment, which it calls Chippy, at a California restaurant to make tortilla chips. AI startup Picnic Works offers pizza assembly equipment. It automates adding sauce, cheese, and other toppings. Picnic rents out its equipment, with prices starting at $3,250 a month. Automation is one word, and a lot of people go right to robotics and a robot flipping burgers or making fries. That is not our focus, said George Hansen, Panera's chief digital officer. In early 2020, Zoom pivoted from using robots to prep, cook and deliver pizza to focus on food packaging. Automation often faces pushback from workers and labor advocates, who see it as a way for employers to eliminate jobs. But restaurant companies have been touting their experiments as ways to improve working conditions by doing away with tedious tasks. Next year, Sweetgreen plans to open 2 locations that will largely automate the salad-making process. Once the machines are in place, they're never going back, especially if there's large cost savings, Warman continued. COVID reduced the pushback against automation, noted Warman. Consumers got more used to self-checkouts at grocery stores and mobile apps to order fast food, Warman continued. Consumers are getting tired of reduced restaurant hours and slower service that have come with labor shortages, said Ball State University professor Dina Zemka. Various restaurant operators have different reasons for investing in technology. 22% want to save on kitchen labor. And 19% are focusing on more efficient ordering. As things stand right now, it is hard to tell if or when any cost savings will materialize. More than a year and a half ago, McDonald's spent a year testing software that could take drive-through orders. That was after acquiring artificial intelligence startup Apprente. The Apprente software was tested at 25 Illinois test restaurants. The voice ordering software had an accuracy in the low 80% range. And that turned out to be well below the target of 95%. McDonald's CEO Chris Kempczinski threw cold water on the feasibility of total automation. The idea of robots and all those things, while it may be as great for garnering headlines, Kempczinski said. But it's just not practical in the vast majority of restaurants, he added. The economics don't pencil out. You're not going to see that as a broad-based solution anytime soon, Kempczinski continued. Robots and automation may have more potential in lower-profile tasks. Less flashy changes like installing Coca-Cola Freestyle machines have had a more outsized impact on sales, said White Castle Vice President Jamie Richardson. Sometimes the bigger automation investments we make aren't as earth-shattering, Richardson said. Americans worry about robots stealing their jobs. If you listen to the proponents, robots will boost workers' productivity and spur economic growth. And, at the same time, create new jobs with higher pay. But robots may not be as beneficial for workers as some claim. New research shows that automation could have positive impacts on economic growth and productivity. But workers might not be the ones who benefit. China has invested heavily in robotics. It has led the world in the automation of jobs for more than a decade. This makes sense because China is a world leader in the industrial sector. China has more industrial robots than any other country in the world. It has more robots than the US when it comes to the number of industrial robots per capita. But the rise of robots in industrial settings in China has not always been beneficial to workers. Foxconn, Apple's main iPhone supplier, is one manufacturer that made a huge automation push. Over 400,000 human jobs were replaced with robots between 2012 and 2016. Agricultural and manufacturing sectors are a much larger proportion of the overall economy in developing nations. Automation and robotics are more developed and prevalent in these two industries. So, robots are more likely to displace workers in developing nations. And a higher percentage of workers in developing nations have only a high school education or less. So, the displaced workers, it will take time to adjust to the change. They will need to acquire the skills necessary to benefit from the new jobs brought by new technology. As you all probably know, Amazon has been a major proponent, investor, and developer of robots. Founder Jeff Bezos would repeatedly discuss Amazon's use of robotics in televised interviews. What do you think? Please leave us a comment below. We would love to hear from you. Please hit the like button. Please subscribe and hit the bell icon so that you are notified of future videos when they are released. Please share this video on social media. Thank you for watching.